Okay. Today I am going to look at sources of oligopoly. What are the sources of oligopoly? Okay, or the factors that give rise to oligopoly. Okay, what are the factors that give rise to oligopoly? Okay, first will be huge capital investment. Right, capital, not K. Okay, so the first source of oligopoly is huge capital investment. Okay, one of the factors that give rise to oligopoly is that in that product, okay, there will be a huge capital investment. Okay, second will be economies of scale. As the scale of production increases, per unit cost of production will decline. Okay, larger the scale, the unit cost will decline. Okay, so there will be economies of scale. Okay, third will be patent right. Okay, fourth will be like I talk about OPEC country. Okay, a crude oil producing country. Okay, so control over certain raw material. The control over certain raw material also give rise to your oligopoly. Okay. Fifth will be merger and acquisition. You can say there are several firm. Okay, say 15 to 20 firm or 50 firm. Okay, and there is a merger and acquisition takeover. Okay, merger and acquisition or takeover. Okay. So all these form sources of oligopoly. Okay, in everyone. Okay. Yes. Economies of scale means that as you increase your production size, okay, per unit cost or average cost will decline. Okay. And why it is happening? Okay, because you are getting more supplier. Okay, so your cost reduces. You are getting managerial economies. Okay, managerial is becoming more efficient. Okay, because of division of labor. Okay, so per unit cost will decline. Clear? This I have explained in the notes. Asked with some of your senior 2019 batch. Okay, I have given the detailed explanation. Okay, just have a look at it. Various form of oligopoly. So first one is perfect and imperfect oligopoly. Oligopolies, okay. So perfect oligopolies, okay, imperfect oligopolies, okay. Both firm, okay, are producing identical products or homogeneous product. Clear? In case of perfect oligopoly, okay, both firm will be producing identical or homogeneous product. In case of imperfect oligopoly, okay, both firm will be producing differentiated product. Okay. Second will be open and closed oligopolies. Okay, when firm can enter, new firm can enter. Okay, then we say that it is open oligopoly model. Okay, when entry is restricted, okay, then it is called closed oligopoly. Okay, entry of open firm, entry to new firm is allowed. Okay, then we have open oligopoly. When entry is restricted, then we have closed oligopoly. Okay. Here entry is restricted. Here new firm can enter. Clear this one? Collusive and non-collusive oligopoly. Third one is your collusive and non-collusive oligopolies. Okay. In case of collusive oligopoly, okay, oligopoly means you have few firm. Okay. So few firm will form mutual agreement. Okay, to avoid competition. Okay, few firm will form mutual agreement to avoid competition. Okay, clear? AGGREMENT, okay, agreement. Okay, here in conducive agreement, okay, firm will compete with each other. Clear? In conducive on, yeah, conducive oligopoly basically means few firm, okay, will form mutual agreement to avoid competition. Okay, few firms will form mutual agreement, okay, to avoid competition. And in case of conducive, non-conducive oligopoly, okay, firm will compete with each other. They will compete with each other. Okay, there will be no mutual agreement. Okay. Last one. Partial and full oligopoly. Okay. So in case where you have dominant firm, okay, and that dominant firm is a price leader, okay, dominant firm will set the price and other firm will follow. Then you have partial oligopoly. Okay. In case where you don't have dominant firm, okay, no firm act as a price leader, then you have full oligopoly. Okay. So we have started our lecture, okay, with non-conducive oligopoly model. Okay. In the non-conducive oligopoly model, we are going to see the cases where firms compete with each other. And since we are looking at oligopoly model, okay, there is an element of interdependency, and if firm recognize the interdependency, it is good for them. And if they are not able to recognize interdependency among them, okay, then the outcome that we are getting, okay, will not be good for the industry as well. That is what we have seen in the Kuhnert model. Okay, the first model that we will be doing, okay, and we have done already, okay, is the Kuhnert model. Okay, so the original version that I have done, Kuhnert model, okay, we have seen that, okay, firm are making decision, okay, that maximize their individual profit, okay, but they are not able to produce output that maximize industry profit. Okay, today we are going to develop that part. Okay, why they are not able to maximize the industry profit. Okay, that part we are going to do. So any model that we are doing, okay, it is based on assumption. Okay, so the initial framework that we have taken in the Kuhnert model is that there are two firms. Okay, so it is a duopoly model. Okay, and they are producing homogeneous product. Okay, they own millions well and they are producing million bottles, say for example. Okay, in the original version, it has taken to be million well. Okay, and what is the third assumption? Cost is identical. Here when we are saying cost is identical, we are saying about operating cost, marginal cost, per unit cost is identical for both. And in the original version, okay, because both firms are owning mineral well, okay, so additional cost for them, marginal cost for both firms is zero. Okay, in the original version. Okay. Then what assumption we have taken? We have two firms, okay, both firms are homogeneous, cost is identical. Then anyone remember? Linear demand curve, right? Yes or no? Market demand curve is linear. Linear demand curve. Okay. And the next one that we have taken, okay, assumption that each firm produce output that maximize its profit given the output of other firm. given the output of other firm. So these 5 assumptions, based on this assumption, okay, we have done a Cournot model. Okay, so we have taken 2 firm, okay, and we have started with the linear demand curve. Okay, so this is my demand curve. This here I have written quantity, here I have written price. Okay, so in this demand curve, you know that midpoint, if you draw 45° line, okay, you know that this is the midpoint. Elasticity is equal to 1. Okay, and marginal revenue, if you remember, because total revenue is what? Price into quantity. Okay, here price is not given, this is not perfect competition. Okay, here there will be some to significant level. Okay, oligopolist firm can control price. So we have come up with the equation where marginal revenue equal to price 1 minus 1 over elasticity. Everyone remember this part? We have done the derivation. Yes, no? Am I audible or not? So this part you remember, or you want me to drive again? This part you people remember that I have driven, or you want me to? Okay, everyone remember. Okay, so marginal revenue you have taken out to be this. Okay, so when elasticity is equal to 1, okay, so what will be your marginal revenue? Can anyone tell me? When elasticity is equal to 1 at this midpoint, what will be your marginal revenue? Zero. Very good point. Okay, so marginal revenue will be 0. Okay, one question that they ask in the examination: why monopoly is not produced in the inelastic part of the demand curve? Because your marginal revenue will be negative. Okay, at elasticity equal to 1, marginal revenue is 0, right? Then in the inelastic part, this is inelastic part, this is elastic part. Okay, so this is the marginal revenue, and this is your demand curve. Say just I DD prime. Okay? This is origin. So marginal revenue will be 0. So it is here. It is going from here. Okay, and it is half the distance. Okay, of this part. Okay, if you remember the formula that we have driven. Okay, so this area is 1. Okay, the intercept is 1 from 0 to here is 1. Okay, this will be half. Okay, so this we have done. Okay, now you people know profit maximization condition. Profit maximization condition. Okay, I am looking at profit maximization for both firm. Okay, I have 2 firm, and I am looking at profit maximization condition for both firm. Profit maximization condition is what? Marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. Okay, marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. This is my profit maximization condition. Okay, so let's start. Okay, in this market for mineral water. Okay, with first firm. Okay, suppose initially there is first firm that enter the market. Okay, so firm 1 enter the market. Okay, so this entire industry demand is a market demand for the firm. Okay, this entire market demand, okay, is representing demand curve for that firm. That means we are in a monopoly situation. Okay, there is only one firm. Okay, that enter the market. Okay, and that industry demand or market demand curve represent my firm demand curve also for that firm. Okay. Now, what is the marginal cost for firm 1? Marginal cost is 0, right? So it will coincide with your x-axis. Okay. This is your marginal cost. I write marginal cost. Okay. This is your marginal cost. Clear, everyone? Marginal cost is 0. Okay, so marginal cost coincide with this x-axis. Okay, what is the profit maximization condition? Mi equal to mc. So mi equal to mc is here at this point. So what MIMC is saying, MI equal to MC condition, that produce half of the total output that is available to that firm. Okay, half of the total output that is available to the firm. Okay, if quantity is Q, if total market demand is Q, this was, so produce half of Q, and I have taken this Q to be 1. Okay, so produces half of 1. Okay, is half. So I write this one. Okay, so firm 1 will keep producing every period half of industry output. Okay, suppose in a particular time period, okay, another firm enter. Okay, second firm come up. So this firm is producing half output. Okay, at a point in time, okay, we look at this firm is producing half of the industry output. Okay, when second firm enter, okay, it has to decide how much it want to produce. Okay, so what it will do, it will take what, it will take that half of the market share is going to firm 1. Okay, so it will look at the market, what market is available to him. Okay, so the market available to second firm is this half, this portion. So this is demand curve for firm. Okay, firm 2 will see that this much market is available to me. Okay, then how it will respond? By producing half of the market that is available to me. Okay, this is marginal revenue for firm 2. Okay, what is half of half? 1/4. Okay, half of half is 1/4. Half MI equal to MC condition will remain the same. Okay, MI equal to MC condition will be saying that you produce half of the market share available to you. Okay, so half you will produce of what is available to the second firm, half. Okay, because out of one output, half is produced by firm 1, so half is remaining. So half of half will be 1/4. Okay, so how firm 2 will decide? One is the total market share. Okay, half is produced by firm 1, so the remaining half is available to firm 2. Okay, according to profit maximization condition, MI equal to MC, produce half of the market share. Okay, market share is half. Okay, produce half of that. So firm 2 respond by producing 1/4. Okay, so in the first period, time period 1, I am saying that when you have both firm and both are determining how much they want to produce. Okay, that is why I am writing time period 1. Okay, firm 1 is producing half of the market share. Second firm, okay, given that half of the market share is available to firm 2, okay, it responds by producing half of that. Okay, that is the profit maximization condition. MI equal to MC is saying produce half of that. Okay, if you are not getting it, okay, just remember in the beginning what I have said. This is total market. Firm 1 profit maximization condition is saying MI equal to MC, that means produce half of the market share. Okay, half of the market share is what? 1/2 into Q. Okay, and Q I have taken to be 1. Now, here firm is not understanding interdependency aspect. Okay, firm are not taking interdependency aspect. In the time period 2, firm 1 will see that how much market share is available to him. Okay, so right now when firm 2 is producing 1/4 of output, firm 1 will take that this output is given. Firm 2 output is given. So how much market share is available to firm 2? 1 minus 1/4. That means 3/4 or 75% of market is available to firm 1. Okay, and what is the profit maximization condition? Produce half of this market share. Okay, MI equal to MC is saying that produce half of the market share available to firm 1. Okay, remember this assumption: each firm produce output that maximize profit. Okay, that maximize its profit given the output of other firm. So firm 1 will take the output of second firm as given, okay, and according to profit maximization condition, okay, MI equal to MC produce half of the remaining share of the market available to firm 1. So it will respond by producing half of that one. So it will be 3/8. Okay. Both firm are determining output simultaneously. So what firm 2 will do? Okay, at the same time, firm 2 will take this output as given. Okay. This output as given of firm 1 and respond by producing half of it, because this is what profit maximization condition is saying. Okay, and it will be producing around 5 by 16. Okay, this process will continue. You add up, you will get a GP series. Okay, I told you people to look at geometrical progression series. Okay, and both firm will end up producing 1/3 of the market share. Okay, firm 1 will end up producing 1/3 of the market output. Firm 2 will end up producing 1/3 of the market output. Okay, in everyone. Okay. Now, this part represents half. Okay. So half is remaining to the what is it? Second firm. Okay. So it responds by producing half. Okay. So this represents 1/4. Okay. So this is half, and this total part will be how much? This part is half. This part will be how much? This is 1/2. Okay, in the first part, okay, firm 1 is producing half, second firm is producing 1/4. What you will get? Take the NCM, it will be 4, 2 plus 1, 3, 4. Right? If this is 1/2, this will represent 3/4 of the output. Right? This is 1. Yes or no? This point will represent 3/4 of the output. In the first period, half is produced by firm 1 and 1/4 is produced by firm 2. So this represents 3/4 of the output. You people are getting the point? Yes, no? Okay. And okay, I have this part. Okay. Let me take photo. Now, so the formula that I give you, okay, that individual firm output, okay, firm output in equilibrium, we will calculate by this formula. You can write Q here, Q over n plus 1. Q I have taken to be 1, number of firm is 2, so output of each firm is what? 1/3. Okay, and total output produced by one firm is what? N over n plus 1. So we have 2 firm, 2 plus 1, 2/3 of output. Okay, you can see 1/3, 1/3 both is ending up. You add up, you will get 2/3 of output. Okay, so here you have half of industry output. Here you have 3/4 of output. Okay. 3/4 means 75% around that. Okay. So 2/3 is how much? 0.66, right? Yes or no? So it will be between these 2 points, this point and this point. In equilibrium, total output of the industry will be between this point. Suppose this is the total industry output in the Q node, QC. Okay. This is 2/3. So what will be the price charge? This will be the price charge in Q node. Each firm is maximizing profit, okay, by producing 1/3 of output, and you are getting 2/3 of output, and price will be same, both firms will be charging the same price. If you remember the numerator that we have done, price will be same, right? This part is clear? Okay, 2/3 of the output I have taken here. Okay, this will be the price in the Kuno. Okay. Now consider the case why I am saying that industry profit will not be maximized. Okay, individual firm profit is maximized, but industry profit will not be maximized. Okay, consider the case where both firm connive. Okay, so when both firm connive, what they will do? They will act like a monopoly, right? When both firm connive, they will act like a monopoly. Everyone agree? Yes, no? When both firm connive, they will act like a monopoly. Okay? So remember the case that we have done. Okay, when you have one firm, okay, how much output that firm is producing? Half of industry output? Yes or no? When there is one firm, it is producing half of industry output. Okay, it is like a monopoly. You have one firm. Okay, MI equal to MC condition. Okay, it is producing half of industry output. Okay, so when both firms connive means they understand the interdependency, that we are interdependent. How we can maximize our profit, joint profit. Okay, so they will connive with each other. Okay, they will produce this much output, and what is the price they will charge? They will price this price in the monopoly that you have. Okay, this is the price that will be charged. Okay, when they understand their interdependency, and this much output they will produce, half of the industry output. Since they are not able to understand the interdependency, they are charging lower price. Okay, than what they can charge if they understand the interdependency. Okay, as a result, industry profit is lower. Okay, individually they are maximizing output. Okay, they are understanding the interdependency. Okay, they are maximizing their output. But what is happening here? Industry profit is not maximized. This part is clear? Yes, no? Okay, now coming to the last point. Okay, in perfect competition, okay, what is the condition that we have? Where firm will produce in perfect competition? Where price is equal to marginal cost, right? Yes or no? In perfect competition, price is what? Average revenue. This is the place where firm will produce. Price is AR, which you can say MR, right? You have done the introduction video, right? Somebody say yes, no. And this line, okay, this demand curve line is your price line, okay, and this is marginal cost line, okay. So output will be produced here, and price in the competition will be here, okay. So the Cournot price, okay, lies between your monopoly price and perfect competitive price. This is one 5-mark question that can be asked in the examination, okay. The Cournot price, the price that is charged in the Cournot, okay, lies between your monopoly price and price in the competitive market. Demand curve represent your price line, okay. Price equal to marginal cost, okay. Output will be produced here in perfect competition. Price will be charged here, okay. So Cournot price lies between price in the monopoly and price in the perfect competition. Can you everyone? And you have to draw this graph for that one, okay. I repeat one more time, okay. In the Cournot model, okay, we have taken a 2-firm case, okay. In the original version, they have 2-firm case, duopoly model, okay, and both firms are producing identical product, okay, and they have identical cost, okay. Operating cost or the marginal cost is taken to be 0, so it is here, okay, and the profit maximization condition for both firms will be MI equal to MC. That means produce half of whatever market share you have, okay. Initially the graph that I have drawn, okay, whatever market share you have, say Q have market share, produce half of that will be your profit maximization condition given by MI equal to MC. Okay. So I have taken total output to be 1. Okay. I have introduced the first firm 1. Okay. Take the case of monopoly. Is respond by producing half of industry output. Okay. And the price that it can charge is the monopoly price. Okay. Since we are considering a 2 firm case, okay, in between the production process, okay, continuing firm to enter, okay, and it start to produce. So when it start to produce, if you remember the fifth assumption, okay, it will take the output of first firm as given. Okay, that firm 1 is producing half of output. What market share is available to me, then he will say that half of the market share is available to me. Okay, so the firm will respond by producing half of the half. Okay, half market share is available to me. So the profit maximization condition is saying produce half of the market share available to you. So it respond by producing 1/4 of the market output. In the second time period, okay, firm 1 will see that firm 2 is producing 1/4. So it will take the output of firm 2 as given. Okay, so what share of market available to firm 1? It is 3/4. Okay, or 75% market share is available to firm 1, and it respond by producing half of that market share, say 3/8. Okay, so in this way, this process will continue, and we come to know through GP series when we add up. Okay, that both firm will add up producing 1/3, okay, of the market share. Okay, and the total output of the industry will be 2/3, and it will be nice here. So this is 2/3 of the industry output, 1/3, whatever, 1/3 is here, 1/3 is here. I add up the both firm output. This is the price charge in the floor. Okay, so each individual firm is maximizing their profit. They are not maximizing industry profit. Okay, so how we will know that the industry profit, okay, can arise? Okay, or in what way we can understand that it is not able to maximize the industry profit? Okay, so consider the case where both firms connide and they act like a monopoly. This is the entire market demand. MI equal to MC, they will produce half of the market share and they will charge this price. Okay, so this is the price that will be charged, okay, when they will connide and act like a monopoly. Okay, since they are not recognizing interdependency, they are charging this price. Okay, and in computation you will be having this price because condition is price equal to marginal cost. So the end point that I have said is that price in the Punot lies between these two prices. Okay. Okay. So let me sum up the Punot model. Okay. So in the Punot model, okay, the original version, okay, both firms are named. Name means immature. NAIVE, name. Okay. Both firms are named or immature, and they not recognize the interdependency. Okay, since they not recognize the interdependency, okay, on the identical product and identical cost condition, okay, both will be able to maximize their individual profit, okay, but industry profit will not be maximized. Okay, and the equilibrium that we will receive, okay, will be Nash equilibrium. Okay, and I have discussed the Nash equilibrium. It is a set of strategies, okay, that each firm is taking, okay, given the strategies of other firm. Yesterday I have discussed in detail. There is a video, you can watch it also. Okay, so both firm is producing the output, okay, and they don't have any incentive to move, okay, because they are not able to recognize the interdependency. Okay, they can increase their profit, okay, by charging higher price if they recognize the interdependency. Okay, this has been done in the Chamberlain model that is not in your syllabus. Okay, so some of you want to do it, I will do for you. Okay, so timing just this is a part of your course. Okay, so in the Punot model, since both firm not recognize interdependency, both are named firm. Okay, so both firm will be maximizing their individual profit. Industry profit will not be maximized. Okay, in everyone. Okay, just wait.